I remember when I was younger, when I was in school, I remember being so scared and awkward to even just talk to random people in the school. Even as I walked the hallways and as I seen kids walk to the next class, I was so socially anxious because I was always thinking of how they were thinking about me as I was walking, and just even being seen and thinking what they might be thinking about. Even when I went out and I had to talk to people in public, or even someone at a grocery store, a cashier, or even talking to women in general, was something that was so fearful to me, something that I was scared to do because I felt so socially awkward, so socially anxious. I felt like back then I was so scared of screwing up or thinking of how someone might think of me if I showed the real me, or thinking of someone how or thinking about how they might just view me or if they would accept me, because I was scared of rejection. I was scared of being seen or being heard because I was so comfortable with being with myself in my room, playing games or watching TV. And because of that, growing up, I didn't really have much friends. If anything, I probably had a couple, but I didn't have a lot of people I was around. I never really went to parties and I was always with myself. And one of the main reasons is because I was always so scared of communicating, because I was always thinking about how they were thinking about me, how other people might be perceiving me. And this fear of rejection and being accepted for who I am was something that I didn't want to face. So I was always with myself. And the thing is, the reason for me being so socially awkward and not being as expressive and just feeling this feeling of rejection, of how others were perceiving me by self rejecting myself already, was because I was allowing my mind, my ego, to sabotage me. And the thing is, a lot of people today are in their minds and they're probably thinking of how others are perceiving them, or how they may even perceive themselves, or the self rejection of themselves. And that is the mind or the ego trying to sabotage you, or trying to belittle you, or think of something less than of yourself. You see, the mind, the ego, likes to have these stories, this identity that likes to hold on to, that creates this belief for ourselves that if it's something we don't like about ourselves, something we feel is true, our mind likes to concoct many stories, literally thousands of stories about it, even if it's not true. And in my case, when I was younger, is thinking how others were perceiving me. When the thing is, they probably weren't even thinking about me. They could have been thinking about themselves, and maybe they were in the same shoes. And the one thing I really wish I knew back then, when it came to our thoughts in the mind, is I really wish I knew that mind or the ego likes to make these false stories or these false narratives based on the beliefs that maybe we were taught, or things that we grew up to learn that we thought was true, which may not even be true at all. And even this ego, this mind, can also be a safety mechanism to protect ourselves, to make us believe something's true so we don't feel like we are being rejected by society or outcasted or hurt. So if you're someone who is struggling with negative thoughts and these self beliefs about yourself, then you have to realize that a lot of these things in your mind are most likely not true. And it's just the ego trying to sabotage you or to keep you safe, to make you feel like you are protected and not being rejected. So how do we overcome these negative belief systems? How do we overcome the ego that tries to sabotage us? And the thing is, we have to really be more aware of what we are thinking on a daily basis. And we have to catch ourselves whenever we have a thought about something, and we have to figure out if this thought is true. And something I really lacked back then was this self-awareness about myself and what I was thinking. I was almost like on a daily program of thinking the same thoughts and the same beliefs on loop constantly, and I never caught myself. But once I started to introspect and start to self-reflect about the belief systems I had and the thoughts I've had, meditated on it even, is when I realized that a lot of these thoughts and these beliefs from the ego aren't true at all, and they're just concocted stories from what we were so used to growing up to, maybe even trauma that we might have that we're holding on to, and the emotions that we're keeping within ourselves, or even just the thoughts and behaviors that we've picked up from family members. And we really just have to become more aware about these thoughts. And literally, some simple thoughts might have throughout the day is something that can be subconscious, or you say it in one sentence in your mind and it goes away, like I'm ugly, or this is why I'm not good enough, or this is why I'll never be successful, or this is why yada yada yada. It doesn't really matter. It's the ego trying to create this belief, something that's true, which is not. We have to stop validating those belief systems. We have to stop thinking those belief systems is true. So what I want you to do right now is to pause the video, literally, just for 10 seconds at least, or 20, and just think yourself of what you've said to yourself today, which might not even be true. What belief or thought have you had in the past hours that you said to yourself in your mind or aloud? And just think about where this thought or this belief came from. And as soon as you start to ask yourself where these thoughts came from, or these beliefs came from, you're really starting to dive deep into the core reason of where it might have originally came from. So if you've gotten anything from this video today and from my story, is to know that you can't let or allow the mind or the ego, the negative thoughts, to run your life. You can't allow that program to keep going. And if you're watching this video, it means you're one step closer to wanting to make that change, to break this cycle, to break this thought patterns.